The biggest battle we will ever have to face is the battle between you and you. It's the battle of taking your mind to that limit and then breaking through. On the Mindful Experiment podcast, we will share concepts, universal laws, and interviewing individuals who have done just that, who have gone through the dark times and through those moments allowed their light to shine bright. I'm your host, Dr. Vic Manzo, and I want to thank you for listening to the podcast and taking this journey with me as we discover different avenues to break through those limits, expand your reality, and evolve into the person you desire to be. So sit back, relax, and enjoy the show. Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode on the Mindful Experiment. This is your host, Dr. Vic, and so excited to have you on and dive in as we go through another week of another insight, tidbit, something that I've grasped in my life that I thought was valuable to share with others, things I've saw in my coaching groups, my online classes, and so forth, that I thought you may get some value out of this. I know that intuitively, I always feel that there's just something I have to, dive into, and I just feel like I have to share. And it's just one of those weeks where the feeling was a little stronger than normal. So one of the things I wanted to talk about this week is the importance of tapping into your emotions. Now, I'm not talking about your reactive emotions. I'm talking about emotions from within. Things that bring joy, love, bliss, happiness, and vitality, and so much more that uplift you. Those types of emotions, those positive emotions, if you want to call it or put a label on it. Now, the reason why it's so critical to tap into those emotions is because without emotions, we really don't get a lot of magnetic energy. We don't become magnetic or align ourselves from the things that we desire. And for the most part, most people are living in a state of reactive emotions. This is known as the temporal part of the brain. And they're very reactive. They're impulsive. They get upset for the littlest things. They take things out of context. And it's one of those things where a lot of people are living in that state. What are the reasons why? Well, anytime you're in you're stressed out, overstimulated, on the go, and you're not helping to retone the nervous system, you're not taking time to focus on you, slow down, and just recenter, you're going to stimulate more parts of the brain. They're going to be more on that temporal side, that amygdala side, fear and anxiety. And if you don't take the time to do that, it's just going to you're going to teach your brain how to focus more being in those states. And what you end up starting to do is create this cycle, this conditioning, these pathways, these circuits, and you allow the brain now all of a sudden to be this normal behavior, shallow breathing in the upper respiratory region of your lungs. You're not going deep into them, higher heart rate, higher blood pressure, poor cholesterol, higher sugar levels, craving more bad foods. You can see the cascade. It just continually goes on. Compared to the other side of the story is when you focus on taking care of, your slowing down, meditating, the breath work. And we've done a lot of podcasts on this. You start to stimulate or break that pattern just a bit to give your brain or your nervous system a chance to be like, I could rest here for a second. And it just gives it a nice reset. And it's very critical to do. The problem is when you catch yourself saying things, I don't have time, things are too busy, I can't do this, X, Y, Z, whatever the story you're creating. And I mean that with a lot of, sincerity and compassion. It's just that you're stating that this is what it is, and you're defining that. And so the universe is going to provide more of that. So you are dictating that. You are creating that story. And so when you hear yourself saying those types of things, I don't have time for this, I can't do this, oh, I'm too busy for this, oh, I just can't get onto this. You're really stepping in a place where you are focused in being more in the state of temporal. You're reactive. You're back into the reptilian brain, the more primitive side. It's a lower consciousness level. It's not allowed to really, you're not really in a powerful state. You're more in a forcing state. You're forcing things instead of being in a powered state where you don't have to. A lot of people live in these states. I see a lot of people stuck in these states. I've been a chiropractor for almost 9 years, so I've had a lot of interactions with people. A lot of people shared things with me just as much as I shared with them. I'm human myself. I've been there so many times, and I still go there. It's not like it's just I mastered it and I don't go there anymore. It still happens. I just catch it, and I don't let it live as long. And so there's another part of your brain known as the prefrontal cortex. It's also known as the ventromedial frontal lobe, that aspect of the frontal lobe of the brain that really is the calming effects. This is why when you go exercise afterwards, you feel better, right? You stimulated the prefrontal cortex, so it calms the brain. Endorphins get released. Growth and development starts to focus more. These are things that the body's going to focus on. When it comes to chiropractic care, which is one of the best things you could do for your brain, massively. When chiropractors, when they adjust the spine, they're stimulating pathways into the prefrontal cortex. They're stimulating circuits. Programming is so much to stimulate that more. That's why people who are under chiropractic care, they notice they're a little calmer. They sleep better mood, not as explosive, become more aware, self-aware, body awareness, and so much more. That is really what the prefrontal is. Temporal is total opposite. And it's like if you ever had a massage and they press on an area, on a muscle or a tissue, and you're kind of like, oh, I didn't know that was there. That's body awareness. You're not aware. Your body's shutting down a little at a time. And so you're in this go type of lifestyle that just continually builds these pathways. And it's just leading you down a path of massive chaos, minimized performance, minimized you, limiting your light, and so much more. It's not that exciting. So what are some stuff you can do? What are things you can do? Well, to change that course, to get out of that, to help your body adapt better so that it can be more aware and self-aware, body awareness, so that you can not be as reactive. You can stay more in a centered place. You can take on more stimulation and stress without negatively affecting your body, your health, and your nervous system. It's very simple. Number one, chiropractic care. It's the best thing you can ever do for yourself. Chiropractic is not a model for health in the sense of how we think of health. You know, if I have a back issue, I go to a chiropractor. He adjusts me after a certain period of time. It's done, and I can continue to move forward, right? And then when it comes back, I go back. That's kind of healthcare. It's a medical view of healthcare. But the problem is, chiropractic's not that. Although they try to fit us in that, it's not that. Chiropractic is a whole different paradigm in itself. Chiropractic is all about making sure your communication systems are clear as much as possible. And that communication system is your nervous system, primarily the spinal cord within the spine. We're looking at information going to the brain and then from the brain coming back down. We want to make sure that's always clear at all times. Because when it is, prefrontal cortex functions better. When that happens, again, sleep, mood, impulses, emotion, behavior, centeredness, focusedness, concentration, all those things improve massively. Performance in sports and so much more. When you don't, that's why chiropractic is so essential. And it's primary for any human being, anyone with a spine, really. It helps out massively. Number two, there's meditation. I can't tell you enough about meditation. There's a lot out there. And it's one of those things that people can research and Google of all the benefits. But meditation really helps you focus more. And they've done studies where they've seen people who've meditated over years. And they noticed that they did studies on their brain to see the thickness of the prefrontal cortex. And those who did meditations for that time frame had a thicker prefrontal cortex than those who didn't. Again, this is building those pathways, just stimulating that pathways. That's why people, for the most part, who meditate and practice meditation on a daily basis, they're a little calmer. They're not as reactive. They see the bigger picture through the storm and so much more. Other things you can do are things like breath work. One of the big ones I'm a fan of is Wim Hof, but I practice many different types. There's breath of fire, there's holotrophic breathing, there's conscious breathing, there's rebirth breathing, there's square breathing. There's just so many different types of breath works out there. cobra breath, and so much more. But it's one of those things you take time to practice this, because breath work, the initial state of most breath work, but specifically Wim Hof, it stimulates something in the nervous system known as the vagus nerve. This is the calming effect. This is the relaxation effect of the body. It's in growth and development stages. So when you utilize this, this can truly drastically be a game changer for you and for your health, because it's going to allow you to calm, reset, and stay as focused as much as you can. And the criticalness of doing this is because you don't get stuck in habits and patterns within the brain, and it allows you to thrive and continue to move forward in all that you do. There are other things you can do. There's music, there's brainwave therapy or brainwave entrainment. Music is really, really wonderful. Different tunes and tones can help in that process. There's sensory deprivation tanks that are absolutely amazing. There's so much out there that can do so many different things. But I wanted to name the three most impactful ones that I have experienced in my life. I mean, there's other ones that I do, but again, I want to keep it simple. This is one of those weekly things. I was having a conversation with someone. I was diving deep into this, and I was like, you know what? This is a great podcast to share. So I wanted to share this with you guys. Practice with us. If you have any questions, if you need help with resources or people to connect to, if you're looking for a chiropractor, you're not in the area where I live in LaGrange, definitely can help out with that and connect you. I can't tell you numerous accounts of how it transforms the lives of kids, infants, adults, and everyone in between. It's one of those things that really can help be the massive game changer for your life and allow you to be the best version of you. So any questions you have on this, shoot me an email at drvic@empoweryourreality.com. One thing I want to leave with you guys is that we do have our 5-week vision course up and running. It is an amazing program. It's one of our signature programs here at Empower Your Reality and the Mindful Experiment podcast, to where this program has really radically changed people's lives. And it's been absolutely such an amazing program. The feedback has been unreal. You can see some of the feedback on the website. I have it in the show notes. But we are launching this new program starting at the end of March 25th. So please take advantage of the special pricing that we have out right now. After that, we will be changing pricing and boosting it up after that for those who did not take advantage of the early post. So take a look at that. It's in the show notes. And any questions, again, like you guys have, shoot me a message at drvic@empoweryourreality.com. It is a pleasure being here for you guys. And as always, until next time, keep rocking and rolling. Thank you for listening to the podcast. For past shows, please visit www.empoweryourreality.com. I hope this show inspired you and added to your life to help you on the journey to rediscover who you really are. To connect with us on Facebook, please visit www.facebook.com/Dr. Vic Manzo. Check us out on Twitter. The handle is Dr. Vic21. Follow us on Instagram, www.instagram.com/Dr. Vic Manzo. If you were inspired by the podcast, pay it forward by sharing it with someone who you know can benefit from it. Thank you again for listening to the Mindful Experiment podcast, sharing paths to help you rediscover your infinite potential.